Radical.
Couple quick things before I get into this commentary. You might hear some music CDs in the background because I am multitasking, I am testing. I think I got Jack Johnson playing on one CD player and Garth Brooks on the other one. I'm thinking about holding on to the Jack Johnson CD because it's kind of rare. It's one of those Hawaii benefit CDs that are in low print. I didn't see any listings online, but I'm definitely going to be selling the Garth Brooks because you see those freaking everywhere, you know? So the commentary I'm going to be talking about would be the end of the relationship, the breaking up between Trump and Musk. But before that, a couple quick things. The Pacers stole a victory. Stole a victory. The first lead of the game was the last couple seconds. Halliburton, I think, his third or fourth buzzer beater of these playoffs. The guy is freaking... He is clutch. If you look at the definition of clutch, then you see Halliburton. So, yeah, they got game one there. Aaron Rodgers is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think it's going to change their fortunes much, but hey, at least Aaron's back to playing football. And in WWE, I hear rumors that Triple H might be getting shit canned, might be getting fired, which wouldn't surprise me because WWE, their ratings are really bad on Netflix. I don't know how to judge ratings or whatnot on the Netflix, but I just saw the numbers were bad. The WrestleMania season was bleh, bleh. And it just seems like not a whole lot of excitement around WWE. So that's the quick stories there. Also, sadly, did I mention this? One of the voice actors from King of the Hill, the guy that plays John Redcorn, was killed. And that's really sad to hear. But yes, on the on the Musk versus Trump. All right, so I don't have all the details here. I just want to give my thoughts on the breaking up from what I know about Musk and Trump. You know, I feel personally, and you might not agree with this, I feel personally that two poor people, some poor neighbors, some poor family, poor people can get together, get along really good, it seems like. Because there's a shared pain there, right? There's a shared pain. Talking about grocery prices, talking about new car prices, how they would have to jump through hoops to afford a new economy car, and talking about stuff like that, right? Well, I mean, you don't have to be poor, but even poor middle class people that aren't rich, disgustingly wealthy, it affects you in some way, shape, or form. You know, things like the economy, inflation, that affects people. So there's a bond that poor people have when they're discussing things of that nature. When it comes to, though, rich people, wealthy people, billionaires like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I think there's a whole lot of ego that gets in the way sometimes of forming those personal friendships. Now, you know, it came out of left field. It came out of nowhere because when it comes to electric cars and Elon Musk, you always thought that that's more of kind of like a leftist, Democratic kind of thing. Not saying it's completely like the Democrats, but, you know, on the whole, it seems like the Democrats and the left want to preserve things in the planet, which nothing wrong with that. I think people can go overboard when it comes to planet preservation. And people on the right side tend to, you know, support big oil and stuff of that nature. But everything's not black and white. Sometimes there's bleed in the middle. There's some purple in the middle where there's always common ground that people agree and disagree upon, right? And I think a lot of things, ultimately, they kind of balance each other out. Like me, personally, I don't like electric cars. I would never own one. I don't like the idea of just plugging in a car. I like things to be traditional. I think there's no problem with cars as they are, but I can see the argument for electric vehicles as an option to have. My problem with it is electric cars and Tesla, and there wanted to be a takeover, basically. You know, a government takeover of all new cars. I'm not talking about most new cars. I'm talking about by 2035, crazy people that were out of touch with society wanted to replace all gasoline power cars with electric cars. So, one positive is, now that a certain party is in office, all those government like handouts to people for buying electric cars, tax credits and whatnot, credits given to people to buy electric, to incentivize them to make sure to phase out gasoline powered cars, for the good of the planet. Even though they've actually done studies to where they show the mining of the batteries and the creation of the cars, not to mention when there is an eventual fire that many of these cars will have and they just explode and shit. I've seen several fires. I can't tell you the percentages, but that is one big reason that would keep me away from getting one of these vehicles. They offset, I think, a lot of the positives of electric vehicles. Like I said, there's a place for electric vehicles, but the place is not replacing every traditional gasoline-powered car or hybrid even, right? So it was kind of weird, but it made sense because I thought, oh, okay, Elon Musk probably sees that probably Trump's going to win, so he's going to start sniffing his booty and kissing his ass, trying to, throw some money at him. So maybe, he would help him. He scratch his back, he's, scratch him, So I kind of saw it for what it was, because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. Unless you look at it from the lens of like, well, Muskie is just trying to kiss up to Trump. And a lot of people called it out from the very beginning, like, I don't think this guy is really, he says he's 100% MAGA, but, I mean, come on now. It's just like out of the blue, he put on a MAGA hat. I'm like, this shit's kind of fake. There's something going on here. But what happened was, I think the beginning of their breakup was when he saw Trump's tariffs, and he saw the fact that seemingly, even though he was put in charge of the Doge, or whatever the hell it was, office, even though he got a position in the government, he got a ton of backlash. I don't think he was prepared for all the backlash from people. The fact that Musk, a private citizen, a wealthy private citizen, just with no political experience, just was put in there to cut. Ironically, this billionaire was put in there to cut from a lot of programs that were benefiting people that were very poor. The social safety net, as you call it. And some people think we might rip up the social safety net, but it's kind of weird and ironic to have these billionaires cutting up the social safety net. And in many cases, I think they were even cutting aid to veterans, I believe. Which is, kind of fucked up when you think about it, right? But I see the argument that the government needs to curb spending. I get it. I definitely get that. So there is definitely a lot of cuts that can be made. But the weird thing is, like I said, he got us backlash. I talked about the Muskie backlash, and it was also because probably in a drug-induced fit. Oh, by the way, if I failed to mention, I didn't have an upload. So many things right now I could be talking about if I had the time to upload more often. Apparently, Muskie is a drug addict. A straight-up drug addict. He takes cocktails of drugs. He even says he takes so much drugs it makes him go pee a lot. So that's probably why he was going crazy, running around with a chainsaw and jumping up and down like a Mexican jumping bean lots of times. And also why he's probably throwing the hi. I'm not going to even say that. It's the H word, the dirty H word. But you know what he was doing with them hand signals, right? So that could explain a lot of his insane behavior. The fact that he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on drugs. So anyways, this breakup between them. A lot of people felt like it was inevitable that those two people just they wouldn't make it. And they didn't really make it a long time. I think Trump liked the money that he was giving to his campaign. So he liked the money. A good way to get close to Trump is to just throw money at him. Right? Kind of like an OnlyFans model. Well, I mean, I'm not saying Trump could get on OnlyFans and everything. Maybe Melania, but not Donald. So a way to get close to him is to throw money at him. That's one way of controlling. And the weird thing is, you would think if a person has a ton of money already, like throwing money at him, I think this one nation, didn't they gift him like some kind of a gigantic jet or something? It's weird. Like me, if I had tons of money, the last way you could control me would be throwing money at me. Because I'm like, I already have a lot of that. That'd be like, a boy band at their peak that basically get lines and lines of females after the show. That's like saying, okay, we want you to do something for us, but we have a nice young nubile female right here we'll actually give to you. And he's like, I got trailers full of those. Some of them right now ready for me to go serve them. Like, huh? How can you control me like this? Okay, but I'm going off topic. Sorry about that. Musk versus Trump. I think the breaking point kind of started with, like I said, the fact that financially, in several different ways, Muskie realized that being connected to politics and being in the Trump White House affected his Tesla cars. Because people were setting fire to Tesla cars. People were not buying Tesla cars. Not just because of his special hand gesture, but there was a whole lot of things. Right? People were embarrassed to have Tesla cars. Like the Cybertruck, as you should be embarrassed to have the Cybertruck. And they felt like his focus should be on not piddling around with the government, but maybe taking control of his own shit company, making sure that the cars they brought out were not rolling piles of crap, making sure to help his own company make better vehicles. Doing that, and not having his focus on, sucking up, licking up, kissing up to Trump, and trying to get favor from him. So, I think the breaking point, like I said, was actually the financials. And also with these tariffs. He was not a fan of the tariffs. Musk came out against the tariffs and didn't believe in them because it would make the cost, it would make the cost a lot more expensive for him to create his vehicles and to put them together. So he would lose money unless he raised the price of the vehicles, but the prices are dropping like a stone because he can't get this money for things like the Cybertruck. So financially, he's been losing money, and I think that's a big part of it. Is maybe he felt like if he sucked up to Trump, maybe he could help his own business a bit. But there's certain things that, for some reason, Trump thinks are great, like the tariffs. They're good, they're great, and it's hard to explain to people. I'll link to something that a lot of people, specifically people that are firmly, MAGA, or whatever you call it, people that are firmly for him might need to understand about tariffs. I guess, all these people that are pro-tariffs are not affected. They're wealthy also. I guess they're not affected by prices maybe possibly doubling on things. I guess no one buys anything, right? No one ever buys anything from the stores. But if you look at tariffs, everything is connected. Because if you raise the prices of steel, for instance, aluminum, then that makes cars more expensive. But it's not just cars. So many of these industries are connected together, so it creates this domino effect, man. It creates this ballooning effect, where if this is more expensive, then that means these people have to pay more, and these people have to pay more. It's so stupid to do this all of a sudden when it comes to the tariffs. I've heard people say, yeah, it's a negotiation. But this is stupid negotiation because I don't think he even knows what he is doing when it comes to the tariffs. Because there's just like, you can't tell me there's a concrete plan where he feels like this is actually going to get to the point where Americans benefit. Because I don't see what the benefit is in the prices of everything this summer shooting up. Even if it's just temporarily, then that's basically a tax on the American people. Because if you have to pay several hundreds or thousands more, depending on, let's say, if you have a business importing things, and you didn't have to before, then that's going to hurt you personally. I mean, even the same people that are being hurt financially are saying, well, we need to bring jobs back to America. It's good for America. I'm telling you right now, and I've said this before, and I'll stick to it. Certain jobs are not coming back to America. You need to let that shit fucking go. That ship has sailed, okay? Finishing up here, the point of contention, here last couple weeks has been the bill. Now, Elon Musk does not like this bill, this quote, big, beautiful bill. And he's using this as a point to go at Trump because he was put in his office, Doge, to cut spending. But the weird thing is, this bill, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but this bill actually cost a lot. So there's a whole lot of spending that goes on this bill. I think there's a lot of tax cuts in it for the wealthy, which is convenient. You figure, well, Trump is wealthy, so why wouldn't a bill that he creates have a lot of tax cuts for him specifically? Him and his wealthy pals. Why not? So Elon Musk is bringing up things about the bill that he does not like. There is a lot of opposition to the bill. It's not so big, not so beautiful. There's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, politically, that don't like it. There's a lot of people that just don't like it. And it seems like Musk is going full bore, full blast at this bill. And he's also said that when it comes to political contributions, he's really not going to be doing that much anymore. So right now, he was a pal of Trump. He donated money to Trump, but I guess he feels kind of scorned because Trump didn't do what he needed to do to help him and Tesla. I guess he didn't want to help Tesla that much, and so they broke up. This very short but very fiery, passionate relationship from these two guys. I love Tesla! He loved the guy. He loves him, but, these relationships, they're not meant to last that long. They're just brief, and they're to try to help each other, and it's a relationship of convenience, I'll call it. But it's no longer convenient for Elon Musk. So he realized, well, I'm getting fucked over here. Why am I kissing up and licking up to him? Why should I do this anymore? So he is a person in this relationship that feels kind of scorned from the policies and the tariffs that ultimately have screwed him over a little bit financially. But me, I'm not shedding a single tear for Muskie. No, I'm not. These billionaires, I just think it's funny that these billionaires that have all the money they could ever possibly need, they have these gigantic egos, and they go to war with each other, even though, if they just sit down and thought about it, they should just be happy as hell that they're fortunate enough to be billionaires. A thing that I just don't really understand is how out of touch billionaires get with regular, everyday people. Because if you're that blessed to have that much money, it's just so sad that you can't fucking be happy. With Musk, he tries constantly to stroke his own ego, and it's revealed that he's taking all these drugs just to try to keep himself happy. I don't know why he's not happy. Then Trump, obviously, he picks fights, he's petty with all these other people, when he could just sit down and be happy that he's a billionaire. That's one thing that people can't explain to me, and I don't understand. If you're a billionaire and you have everything, why can't you just fucking be happy about that?